In January, my business is going to turn 2 years old, which is very exciting. Throughout this process so far, I went from being a complete newbie to the business industry, a complete startup, but now I feel there's a shift going on where I am pushing to be established in my area. So in this video, I am going to take you through 5 points that I am currently working on that's going to take my business from startup to established. If you don't know me, my name is Ashley. I am the owner and founder of AFTA Interiors, and we are an interior architectural design studio based in the west of Scotland. I want to document the journey of what it takes to go from being a startup business to an established business, and the reason behind that is I feel like this 2 to 5 year period just isn't spoke about online. You know, you go into Instagram, you follow big accounts. I follow big accounts, I look up to them, but they're talking about how they went from 0 to 10k months, how they have £1 million turnovers, and for some of us that's just not where we're at the moment. I also want to say that me going into business, I was a complete business virgin. Like, I didn't know a single thing about it. I knew that I had a skill. I knew that this is the industry I wanted to be in, but the business running side I had no knowledge of. In the early days, I found it really hard to connect with other people on the same level as me. I did invest in business mentoring, which was incredible, and it took me from that A to B to C stage. The mentorship that I joined, it was where people were actually doing better than me, and there was reason for that. I wanted people to look up to, and a group where my big problems were their small problems, and it worked out. However, I still lacked the community of people being around the same place as me. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is starting a personal brand. I recently created a brand new Instagram, ashley.after, and this is a personal brand page. Now, we are seeing online right now, personal branding is everywhere, it's a right buzzword. I looked at it and thought, I really want to do that as well. And I always felt like I was a bit late to the party by doing it, because most people have their personal brands first and then they have their business pages. Now, I already have a business page. I have just over 4,000 followers on that, and it's where I've been sharing my content from the start, the projects, and a lot of my own renovation. However, this is the first year where I've started to think, is AFTA always going to be me? Would I like to take somebody on in the future? And how can I bring somebody into this place that's not going to take away from where I want to share things on my own as well? So that was kind of the reason behind starting a personal brand page. Also, I want to speak about business because I want to connect with people who are in that similar stage to businesses as me, and hopefully by me opening up about what I'm doing, it brings people into the community. I also done a little bit of market research involved in this as well. So a great example of this is Danny Campbell, the presenter on Scotland's Home of the Year. Great guy. He is an architect, so in a very similar industry. He has his own personal brand page, which is Hoko Danny, and then he has the business page, which is Hoko Design. So I did have a little scroll through his to see how he started it. It did actually come after he'd started Hoko Design, which is a bit similar to me, and just to see what kind of posts he was sharing on it as well. And a lot of that was the business side, which is something relatable that I also want to speak about. The first point, taking inspiration from other people, seeing how the two pages can connect or disconnect. I think I've started it just in the past couple of weeks, and I am finding it hard to shift my attention onto a brand new page. I think because there's not really anybody on it yet, I feel a bit like, what's the point in posting here when everyone that I know and connect with already is somewhere else? But I feel like I've just reached a point where the future of AFTA Interiors page isn't what I want to speak about just now, and that is why I've decided to start a new one. Moving on to point 2, now I recently had a conversation with somebody that there's only so much long I can call myself a startup, which is really nervous because that's kind of my way into cold reaching people. I usually start off my message with like, hi, I'm new in the industry, I'd love to connect. There's only so much longer that I can say that for, because I am coming from 2 years old, but I also don't feel like I want to call myself a startup anymore. I feel like I've kind of passed it, and that's where the new vision is. Like, oh, maybe I'm actually becoming established now. And that comes with its own challenges. But the things that I found hard at the start, you know, they're dead easy. I don't even like focus my attention on them anymore because I have bigger problems now. But the things that I used to worry about when I first started my business are, you know, second nature, and there's some things in place that means that now that I'm going into the established phase, you know, I've got headspace to think about bigger things and focus on design and the type of projects that I want to bring in. A great example of this, which is a bit of a funny story, is the first time somebody asked me to send them an invoice. I had to Google how to make an invoice and went through like all these images and looking for free templates, because obviously when you're a startup you do not want to spend money on anything that isn't 100% necessary. So I eventually worked it out. Now, just to be clear, this was maybe like 3 or 4 months before ChatGPT. So I went down this rabbit hole, how to make an invoice. Now I pay for a software that makes invoices for me. Now the next point I want to speak about is pricing. Now I have probably lost out on like literally thousands of pounds. I mean, maybe not like tens of thousands, but maybe 10 on not charging enough for my services. However, early on, it's really hard to know what you should be charging because you're not at the same phase as, you know, people 10, 20 years ahead of you. You really want to get the job because you want to work, you want to do it. So you kind of keep your price where you feel like it should be. Early on, you're kind of testing your services as well. I started this off at £149, so it was £149 for 90 minutes at your home. And with that, you got me coming out for your home consultation visit. I would bring my iPad and samples and things and drop sketches on site. It was really tailored to the client and what they needed help with, and it was a great one-off service that they could implement straight away, or it was a great service where they seen how good I was at helping them and they would come back for more. I recently put this service up to £249 because when I go in, I know how to do it, I know how to work with clients, and I'm kind of starting to hear similar things all the time as well. So I've done that many of them now where I'm so confident going into them. Like for me, the value that they get from that, it was worth more than £149. I also decided to make it 2 hours instead of 90 minutes because I felt a bit like I was rushing out the door sometimes, and it just meant that I could show up and take more time with the client to really dig into, you know, what they needed help with at the time. That is one service that I've now decided to put my prices up, but that has came through the experience, it's came through my confidence, and it came through analysing how it's been working before and how could it be better. And actually by charging a higher rate, it means that I can show up better, it means that I can invest in better samples or softwares to take with me and actually spend the time to, you know, go through it with them on a deeper level when I'm in their house. Now, I've only been in business for 2 years, but this year has been the best in terms of the types of projects that we're now bringing into After and the types of services that we offer. So starting out, of course, start small, manage what you can. So we started off as a design only service. I actually say that, but my first project was install as well. I just didn't know any painters, so I painted it. I don't do that now. Okay, saying, right, well, I'm a really good designer, but you have people that are investing 50k, 100k into their homes or their properties or business, and if you don't know what you're doing, that's a lot of responsibilities to take on. So in the design industry, I would say challenge yourself in every project further, but don't try and run before you can walk. This year I have started doing installs, and that is again came back to that confidence and experience. Now I have also been doing it in my own house this year, so I've learnt firsthand what it's like to really have to think about decisions, have to work with the trades, how much it actually costs. I know how much it costs because I've been paying it, and not just handing over a nice design and being like, here you go, figure it out on your own. The install was where things go wrong. You're having to navigate literally like 10, 20 people because we all need to be singing from the same hymn sheet. However, having that design in place is a really good thing because then you're all looking at the same thing. And yes, some things will change and install as you go along, but not everything, because we've built up a really strong design at the end. Not only that, I've been renovating my own house, I'm now living in it, so I am getting to see how my own design decisions have played out. You know, was it good that I done that? How was that fairing up? What are the colours like in the wall now that things have set? So I have been getting the first-hand experience, and it's just so valuable for what I can then take on and give back. And the last thing that I want to speak about is systems. Systems is another buzzword right now, but they are useful. And what I'm now doing to go from startup to established, what worked for me and what could have been better. Actually, now that I have 2 Instagrams, people are messaging on different ones. I get WhatsApps, I get emails. Personally, I don't like to sit on my phone and have conversations all the time. I'm more of an introverted business owner. So I need to come up with a system where all my inquiries, for example, because there are people that you have to get back to, they all go to the same place. So for me, I've just created a brand new inquiry form on my website. It also has questions on it. It's not just like a contact thing. So it also has questions on it, and that means that when an inquiry comes through that way, I can look at it, process it, and then I can show back up to the client and ask the right questions, because design's so broad that people, you know, they don't know actually what they're inquiring for at the time. That I think is really worth talking about, that I'd already mentioned, is my invoicing software that I pay for. So I use Xero. I think it's like £12 a month, and I actually use it mostly for the invoicing, because I can go onto that. I actually have, for example, my home consultation service, which is £249. That's in the system, so I can just type that in and it comes up with the price, etc. And that just sends the client an email and a pay direct link on it, which is so easy. Before, I used to manually make my PDFs for invoicing once I figured out how to do it, and let me tell you, that could take me like 30-40 minutes. So yeah, there are 5 things that I feel right now that I am working on to get into the established phase. I'm sure there's much more that I can speak about. I can see it in the types of projects that I'm taking on and the way that I want to show up for clients actually on site. If you're in a similar journey to me, then please reach out. I would love to connect with people who also feel in that startup to established phase. And if you're also a brand new business, then I just want to say keep going, because it does get better. I know it's really hard in the start, but if this is what you're passionate about, if this is your, you know, there's no plan B, then you've just got to go for it.